Thank you. All right, here we go. I have not watched this. I'm ready. Captions. 55 minutes of TrackMania lore. Let's see how many I know of this. Yeah. Okay, let's sit back. Lufok proudly presents.
Thank you for subs. Thank you.
A message from TFB, Hannah 2006. Hi. Have you considered joining our alliance? We have just increased our member limit. We are an active alliance helping every member grow, and we would love to have you join Smile XDD.
Hello and welcome to the third part of this trilogy.
I'll think about it.
If you haven't watched the two previous videos,
Yeah, we did.
I really recommend you to go check these.
We did.
Because they give the minimum information to fully understand this one. Without taking any more time, let's finally deep dive into the bottom of the TrackMania Iceberg. We started the last third of the dive, and information here will start to be strange. We passed the whole iceberg and the abyss is getting closer and closer.
The abyss? I mean,
Texture holes.
We can just take a submarine,
Among
right?
all the maps from Nudio, some rare maps contain holes in the textures. Some of them are caused by update bugs on BO3 on TM2 Stadium or DO2 on Canyon. Some of the holes are directly caused by a block with this issue, like the beach blocks on Turbo. Even the fake water on TrackMania Original and TrackMania United can be considered as texture holes. Canyon has many texture holes ranging from missing hole faces to just some missing vertices. Example of missing faces are the red booster concrete block when placed on the ground, and the banked wall ride corner when placed on top of the long concrete tunnel roof. An example of missing vertices is the tunnel corner clip. Blocks have two versions, a lower quality version, which can be displayed once the player is at a certain distance away, and a higher quality version for when closer. Ironically, both versions of the blocks have the issue. Some other holes are caused by block clips overlapping. Even though the blocks can be legally placed in the simple editor, the clip placement isn't considered. This is how you can get clip mixing such as DO2 on Canyon.
Posing is cheating.
Multiple high-profile players have been shadow banned from TrackMania Turbo, making them unable to submit their times to the leaderboard.
What?
The only known cause of this is when a player pauses during a run that ends up being a world record. Luckily, these players can still collect both medals and super medals while being shadow banned. In TrackMania 2, pausing won't shadow ban a user. However, driving a top 10 time with a pause causes the time to be removed. Pausing in these games is beneficial because it allows for a consistent one-tick release. While uncommon, there are a handful of tracks where pausing is super effective, such as Lagoon D11 and Turbo tracks 1, 28, and 46.
Le gigantesque.
Oh! Classic. Yo, can a mod fetch his chat logs in my stream? There he is. Joran banned. Good lore. Wait, is he still banned? No, he's unbanned. He's unbanned. Hey, it's TrackMania lore, eh? Live TrackMania lore.
Le gigantesque elephant, also known as just Elephant, is a player known for his behavior. In fact, many people remember him for his naive or aggressive way to talk to people. He used to come on servers and was described as very annoying, but in a way that you couldn't tell if he was trolling or not. He was obsessed with some pro tech players like Spam and would constantly ask...
There he is! There he is! I told you! Yeah! Elephant Tech Map!
them to play his tracks. He even did some 1v1s with community players to prove he is better than them, and when he eventually lost, he blamed it on the game. He got banned many times from TrackMania, TMX and Twitch. Nadeo banned his accounts, his IP and even his hardware, but nothing could stop him from coming back. Many players also described him as a good guy inside, with him attributing his odd behavior to mental problems.
Moon and Toy environments.
Oh, I remember this.
Moon and Toy are unreleased environments that are found in the game code from TrackMania 2. No footage has ever been officially released of either of these two environments, and they remain non-existent. It is assumed they were scrapped early in the development process.
Wrong flags and cars. With a game series aiming to be as international as TrackMania, there are bound to be mistakes with the flags and the official cars that come with them. Most mistakes go unnoticed unless you look carefully at them. Here is a
Whoa.
non-exhaustive list of the most obvious fails. In ESWC, the German car has the Belgian flag on its number plate. In Nations Forever, the Brazilian flag is upside down on the right-hand side of the car. This is partially fixed in TrackMania 2. They flipped one of the flags on the car, but not all of them. Many flags have the coat of arms present when they shouldn't. Examples of this include Luxembourg and Venezuela. In the game files for TrackMania 2, the Republic of the Congo is mistyped as COG instead of CGO for its flag. In TrackMania Turbo, the Gambia car has the name of another country, Gabon, that was left by accident, just because the two names are similar.
Hidden blocks.
Those are
In
some
TrackMania
crazy
United Forever,
mistakes.
there were hidden blocks in Coast and Desert, the most notable of which were the Coast K set of blocks. These are mostly normal platform blocks, except for that the center of them is very bright and has a trippy rainbow texture. Another hidden block is the Coast Render Cube, which is a small mirror block without any collision mesh. There were 3 variants of a desert downhill block that increase its steepness for each variant, the steepest of which was essentially a wall. All of these blocks were discovered in 2008, and before TrackMania Unlimited was released, this could be accessed using a program called Challenge Edit, which was used for early forms of block mixing. Pre-ESWC released Stadium Physics.
Wait, who has these?
In TrackMania Nations ESWC, like in most TrackMania games, there is a bench replay feature that the game renders in order to calibrate settings automatically according to your graphics card. However, the bench ghost in ESWC is unlike any other, as it has physics that are a lot different to the stadium physics we know today, and are closer to base physics. If you would like to give this physics a go, there is a video linked in the description.
Dev World Records.
Wait, we already had these.
In most of the TrackMania games, if 2 or more players have the same score on the leaderboards, the first player to achieve it will be placed as first. This works not just in Time Attack, but in other game modes as well. In TMUF on the platform campaign, for example, there are leaderboards for the number of respawns to beat a level, meaning there are thousands of tied 0 respawn records.
Damn.
Since the first player to achieve 0 respawns is on the top of the leaderboard, many platform maps have Alanoa, a developer at Nadeo, as the number 1 spot.
But it says Hylis.
Typos. Across all TrackMania games, there are a lot of typos in pretty much every language. While the studio is French, there are French typos in TMNF, such as Félicitations, meaning congratulations, where a T is missing. Same for ProDial instead of Profile. In TrackMania Turbo's credit you can find Buznies, a couple of double spaces and much more. To this day, official Nadeo communications sometimes still contain some minor typos.
Yeah.
438A-0. A-0 is the first track in TrackMania Nation ESWC and consists of a start block, an S-curve and a finish block. This track being extremely simple, it has been considered max by the TrackMania community as a whole, with the absolute minimum time being 4.39 in all 3 main stadium games, ESWC, TMNF and TM2 Stadium. In fact, the only 2 videos claiming to have 4.38 are jokes from known players. However, in 2021, with the release of the task tool, people started to wonder if an 8-0 run could be brute forced enough for it to reach 4.38. A few people tried and the idea was dismissed as well, but a taster named Glitched believed in a 4.38 and was probably the only one to do so. He started around September 2021, and while he was constantly told by the community that his dream was impossible, he actually managed to make an 8-0 task with a time of 4.38999939889647, proving it possible in TMNF. The best times are all at 4.390, so the 4.38 has been theorized.
The Coast Zoop Slide. In the coast environment, it is possible to perform a trick known as the Zoop Slide by placing your car at an acute angle, that is to say below 90 degrees, similar to how buck slides are performed in Stadium. Unlike Stadium though, brakes are not required to perform the Zoop Slide on coast, and you can also throw in some tap steering to avoid losing control of the car. This trick is used on rare occasions to get sharper turns on grass.
Guys, let it be known that the same voiceover that did that also did this.
Around! Oh my god! It's time for BDS!
Nadeo Maps thumbnail change. In the TM2 games, if you open the Nadeo maps in the editor, you can make some changes, such as changing the mod textures loaded on the map to a snow-themed one, and the author of the map will remain the same. This means that on the campaign menu, the thumbnail for the map will actually change to accommodate for what the new map looks like.
Wait, that's kinda cool.
Real uploads after Scandal.
What?
One day after the cheating report was published, a video suddenly appeared on Riolu's Clips channel. While many were anticipating a response to the cheating allegations, the video was in fact nothing but a short clip that was scheduled to be uploaded a few days earlier. And while he never addressed the cheating scandal, the comments and likes to dislikes on this video definitely reflected what people were thinking of him at the time.
Well, it had 1.3k likes.
With the release of Mania
That's pretty
Planet, Adeo announced a collection of 3 games, TrackMania, Questmania, and Shootmania, with the environment shown in the original Mania Planet trailer being Shootmania Cryo. Shootmania would eventually release with the Storm environment, and nothing official has ever been published about Cryo. It was meant to be set in a seemingly snowy environment with tunnels and underground mapping capabilities. Not much besides some fires like these ambient sounds have been found.
Cheaters in competitions. Most cheaters that have been caught were cheating offline runs, but some had dared to do it during live competition. The most infamous case is from the player Zerko. The story is set around...
I remember this. I remember this very, very vividly because back in 2014, I was playing in a team with Snick, Arctic Nova, and later on, then they went to BX3. But then we started investigating Zerko because he started a run. He had an insane time, and he started a run like a couple hundreds quicker than the second fastest time. And we were all like, what the fuck is happening? And then we absolutely smoked his ass and we kicked him out of the team.
2014, when Zerko started to set insanely good times on tech maps. His skill didn't go unnoticed, and he even joined the team BX3.
There it is.
However, this didn't go well for too long, when players started to question his times.
There it is.
On July 2014, a cup called THC Solo Cup 3 was played in time attack mode on a server, and Zerko tried to qualify. After an intense battle for first place on the map Blackmind, Zerko set a time with an abnormally fast sector. Pro players like Coens tryharded for hours to beat his sector, but after analyzing the replay itself, it was clear he was using a boost hack, gaining some speed on parts where he shouldn't. Zerko's time was removed, and he eventually got banned after this incident. There's another case in TMNF back in early 2017, where the player Strober cheated during an online RPG time attack competition. He was caught using no wall friction, which made him not lose any speed on landings and wallbangs. On the 5th January 2017, Virtual uploaded a now unlisted video exposing him.
I wonder if I dig deep. Nah, these replays that I got back then were sent via Skype, so I don't have those. They are long gone, I think. Yeah, I don't think I have the Zerko replays anymore. Yeah, I don't think I have that.
Top Yannick's New Lunatics. This entry refers to a quote-unquote social experiment being done by a notable TrackMania community member. The player created a new Discord account and impersonated an old legend called Top Yannick. He was known for creating the Lunatic Extreme map series back in 2008 to 2012, which is one of the most popular map series in TMNF, containing 44 maps. Top Yannick quit the game shortly after building his last Lunatic Extreme, and hasn't returned since. That is until 2020, when he supposedly came back with a message in the official TrackMania Discord. He basically just explained his absence and said that his hard drive died, which means that he lost access to all of his old accounts. Following that, he quickly started building new Lunatic Extremes and had 11 new maps ready, which he had community members validate for him. After that, Sinto organized a server with the 11 maps and made a huge event with €100 prize money from his own pocket.
Where's this going?
A lot of people participated and hunted the maps. Most
raté! Merde!
People believed the impersonator, since the tracks he built were really convincing and had the exact same vibe as the old maps, but some people had a doubt in their mind whether it was actually him, since he acted pretty strange at times, like being extremely angry when people spectated on his server instead of driving, even going so far as to kicking the spectators, and that he couldn't stand it when people insulted each other. 2 weeks after he came back, however, the player revealed himself and apologized to the community.
Wait, so who was this then?
Block mix used in campaign maps. In some maps of the TrackMania Turbo campaign, there is some very obvious usage of block mixing, as you can see trees and rocks clipping out of some turrets.
I think
The
I
funny
know who
part
it is.
about this is that you cannot natively block mix in TrackMania Turbo, but campaign is full of it. You can, however, natively block mix in TM2, but its campaigns show little to no usage of block mixing.
Virtual skipper or ads. Many of the scenery blocks in TrackMania have advertisements for Virtual Skipper, a sailing game made by Nadeo, made before TrackMania. The series has 7 games. The latest installment, called Virtual Skipper Online, was released in November 2008.
Dupe times on 88. For an unknown reason, in TrackMania Turbo's map 88, there are a dozen of duplicate times which makes it into the PC top 10, all ending with the digit 666. These times have never been removed and no other tracks has shown anything similar. To put this into perspective, 3 or 4-way ties are extremely uncommon for top 10 times, only happening once or twice per campaign. These times come from a myriad of regions, almost confirming that they are, in fact, real runs. But a 12-way ties seems extremely improbable. Best bet is demonic interventions. It also seems that a 41.552 is very common on that map.
Ads? Okay, wait. Let's watch that other video real quick then. This one. Yeah! Yeah, this is exactly the run. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. This is what I was talking about at the start. Yeah, this is exactly, yeah. Exactly it. Look. You see? He starts like... See? It's like a fraction. Just validate? Yeah, Shmanio. We're talking about 2014, man. We didn't have the tools, man. We did not have the tools, man. We're talking about the Stone Age here. Alright, let's go.
More on that later.
Uberbug on flat land. With how the Uberbug works, you may think that the car needs to collide with a wall to do this trick. However, by doing a very powerful bug slide with a particular angle, it is possible to get the Uberbug even on a flat surface. This happens due to the car slightly clipping inside the surface with its back wheel for a small amount of time, like a classic Uber does on a wall. Blue ground mapping bug.
Oh, this was so annoying.
In TMNF and TM2, there are blocks that, when placed, turn the grass below it into a blue surface similar to normal road. When you place a corner of this block set and place a ceiling on top of it, the blue ground extends outside of the wall.
This was so
when this
annoying.
map is validated, the blue surface is there, but when you or someone else later opens the validated map, the blue ground is changed back to grass.
Yeah.
Because the car's acceleration on grass is much lower than on the blue surface, this is an easy way to set impossible author times or to validate maps that are impossible to finish afterwards.
Map styles in TrackMania Turbo and TM2. You are all probably familiar with the names A1 Race, A12 Speed, EO5 Endurance from TMNF, which is the only game where map names have this little extension describing the style of the map. In TM2, a regular pattern of map styles can be observed and has also been confirmed by the mapper: Discovery, Speed, Obstacle, Tech and Multilap. A similar pattern can be seen in TrackMania Turbo, which is confirmed by the game's file. All the number 1 tracks are Discovery, then Speed, then Show Off, Tech, Multilap, Discovery, Speed, Show Off again, for the exception of 128, which is Speed, Speed Tech, and Multilap, excluding the final blacks.
Interesting. Didn't know.
We are diving really deep into the game's lore, and yet we still haven't reached the last level. Only unknown, creepy, or strange oddities remains this deep.
TrackMania 2 Lagoon before TrackMania Turbo. TrackMania 2 Lagoon was released the year after TrackMania Turbo did.
True.
But due to the nature of the Super Solo campaign in TrackMania Turbo, a build was needed to be made that was compatible with Mania Planet so that pros could drive the STM times. This is also the reason why the STM replays were all driven in TrackMania 2 and known in the actual TrackMania Turbo game.
I mean, TrackMania Turbo is just a title pack, right? In the end, TrackMania Turbo was literally just a title pack. That was it.
Fake TrackMania game. If you search for TrackMania Online around the mid-2010s, you would stumble across a game called Truck Racing Online. This is a counterfeit version of TrackMania Nations Forever, created by Brutal Strike that you can play for free directly into your web browser. There is also a downloadable version as well as an Android app. It seems as though the majority of the ripped TrackMania content has been removed due to copyright, though you used to be able to play a few of the campaign maps within the game.
Truly maxed maps by humans. With the continued development of task records, the human world record is usually far behind the task, even on short maps like A05 or A10 in TMNF.
Yeah.
But on some of the first ESWC solo tracks, such as A5 and A7, the maps are so simple that they're believed to be truly maxed by humans, with tasks only being able to tie them to the 100th.
Yep.
TrackMania 2 action keys. There are options in the input settings of TrackMania 2 that displays action keys 1 to 4, just like in TrackMania 2020, except the action key 5, which is missing in TrackMania 2. However, those buttons don't do anything in this game. These are only useful in Shootmania and are used to rapidly switch between weapons. Given that Team 2020 was based on Mania Planet, Nadio simply used the same buttons for that game. This is probably a holdover from when Nadio were testing new mechanics, which will never be added to TrackMania 2.
Yeah.
Checkpoint times aren't real.
What?
For a competitive racing game, you might be under the assumption that, above all else, the timer is king. TrackMania would surprise you. The in-game timer in TM2 games tends to guess when it comes to split times. If you're ahead by a few milliseconds, the game often might say you're behind nearly 100th. This could be due to an overuse in rounding. Both your time and the ghost you race against could be rounded for the checkpoint split, but this still doesn't explain why some split times can be drastically different. Also, if you cross a checkpoint on the same 1000th as the ghost you're racing, the split will display a difference of your race time instead of an even split.
Obsolete flags and cars. The flags of countries and thus their custom cars in Stadium are not updated. This can show old or obsolete flags for particular countries. One example of this is the flag of Iraq in Nations Forever. The flag changed 3 months before the release of the game, and as a result the new flag appears in the menus. Weirdly though, this change was not extended to the country's car, making you unable to drive with the current flag of Iraq. Another example is the solid green flag of Libya. Despite the Libyan flag changing in 2011, the car and flag of Libya were not changed for the 2013 release of TM2 Stadium.
Interesting.
This is peculiar, since some cars like Serbia and Montenegro were removed when they became obsolete.
That's
kind of
weird.
Aside, in the original version of the Iceberg posted to Reddit, the picture shown on the right hand side for the shallow depths is not obsolete. This is the extremely obscure flag of the Caribbean community, an alliance of countries in the Caribbean area that's been around since the 70s. Whilst Nadio did their homework for this flag in ESWC, the general work for the flags is not up to par.
True.
In a future video, we will discuss all the fails we found across every TrackMania game.
Nobody has 597 hours on TrackMania 2.
Yeah, we all have more.
Under your profile in TrackMania 2, there is a stats tab which displays some interesting stats such as your time playing the game, your reset and finish count, your most played map, etc. However, no time related stats will ever read a value above roughly 597 hours. This is because the time is measured in milliseconds and stored as a 32-bit integer. The maximum 32-bit number is a little over 2 billion. Converting to hours gives you 596.5 hours. Once past this limit, the timer will warp to minus 596.5 hours, at which it will start to climb up again.
AO1 no SD world record uses SD.
Mime.
This is referring to the fact that the current no SD world record on AO1 does a small SD on the final uphill of the map.
Yeah,
Despite
I saw
the
that.
category, this suggesting the map should be driven without one. This category was rather intended to be driven without the S4D, and probably should be called AO1 no S4D.
Bro, all these different categories,
Platform, author
keyboard,
chance.
controller, wheel,
The platform mode
joystick.
is a game mode where you need to complete the track with the least amount of respawns possible. It is the only official game mode where you cannot obtain an author medal. Instead, beating the number of respawns the author did in validation will only give you a gold medal. level. If you look into the map's file, you will find an author time and a number of respawns. For example, Platform E's author time is 7 minutes, 26 seconds and 13 thousandths. This strongly suggests that Nadeo respawned more than once, since the map is about 3 minutes with a normal run. Since the number of respawns for bronze, silver and gold are always the same, it is very likely that Nadeo themselves have not finished all the maps without respawning, and instead put in the medals manually.
Sunspinks new. Sunspinks was a former TMUF cheater who entered Cold Out Real and Techno for cheating on TMX map comment sections all the way back in 2015. At the time, no input extraction methods had yet been discovered. He probably didn't say that as a joke, since during the cheating scandal, Donadigo found out that Sunspinks cheated on at least one of his runs by slowing down the game. Besides, his accusation started after he drove that cheated run, which was uploaded in late 2008. So maybe he called them out because he knew from his experience.
Slurs in Nadeo tutorials.
Damn. What?
Within the contents of an official Nadeo tutorial for creating custom stickers lies an unexpected little slur. 2011
Snoop Dogg?
was a different time, I suppose.
Monthly
what was that?
2011 was a different time creating custom
Snoop Dogg.
stickers lies an unexpected little slur. 2011 was a different time, I suppose.
Monthly environments. This is referring to a 2010 forum post from the time Mania Planet was released.
Yeah, I saw it, guys!
That it would see a new environment every 3 months, cycling through TrackMania, Shootmania, and Questmania. Up to 15 environments were expected to be released over the game's lifetime. In reality, however, only 5 environments got released over a 7-year period.
I've played
the
them all.
countdown animation. Whenever you first load into a map on TrackMania 2, the round start countdown timer is animated in such a way that the digits appear to get bigger as they fade out of view. On all subsequent runs, however, the countdown digits all appear at the same size, without any fading animation. This difference is so subtle that it took even active players years to figure it out.
I think I remember that.
Dead option. In the skin selection menu in TrackMania 2, pressing the M button will show a menu which allows you to see the car in different conditions. This is mainly used by skin makers, as it's an easy way to reload the car, see the car in the night, see the lights of the car, etc. One of these options is called Dead and shows the car disappear the exact same way as TM 2020 car does when being crushed by royal blocks. In TM 2020, you may also get the dead animation when you disconnect due to packet loss. While this animation is not used in TM2 itself, it is used in Shootmania when killing another character on a car item.
So basically, Shootmania was actually the best game that Nadeo released because everything else is built upon Shootmania. That's kind of crazy. Without Shootmania, we would have probably not been here. Wow.
Ryolu61 replay.
Ryolu was asked to send his replays to give some help to players in the TrackMania Turbo community. However, when people checked his replays on Track 61, they found out that one of the replays contained the N-word.
Fake death. In August 2014, a player created a map using the new features added by Nadeo that gives the possibility to players to use mixed mapping. They created a map using that and gave it to their team, at the time saying that this could be a Zerati map. Unfortunately, the player passed away shortly after creating the map. Fast forward to February 2015 when Zerator came back to TrackMania announcing the return of the Zerati TrackMania Cup. He asked the community to send him maps to be part of the official map pack of the Cup. As an homage to the recently dead player, the team sent the map to Zerator telling him that the player will have loved to be part of the Cup, and Zerator accepted. The map was then even played during the final of the Cup. However, it turned out that the player faked their death. The team then told Zerator, who erased the map from the Cup's history, and he even deleted the VOD of him discussing the map. The player got banned from the Cup. 201 STMs.
Damn.
If you make use of the next map option from the in-game menu, the medal times that will load on the next map will be the times from the previous map. If you then manage to beat these glitched STM, gold, silver or bronze times, you will be rewarded an extra medal, which is how you can get 201 Super Track Masters. It is worth mentioning that the medal is reset back to normal once you leave the map.
So that's how Ender basically got his second run done. Cheating his way, driving previous medals on the next track.
Nadio accused of moral harassment. In September of 2020, Nadio studio head Florent Castelnerac, aka Hillis, was accused of inappropriate.
This was a big thing. Did anything even happen after this? With this?
Workplace conduct by the French union Solidaires. In the prior months, this union made a call on Twitter asking for workers to come forward with any claims of harassment in the workplace. Dozens responded, and according to the union, those accounts were credible enough to call for Hillis' dismissal. One worker was quoted as saying, "A colleague was yelled at for 20 minutes. It's lynching in public." Another, "80% of your work is to be put in the trash. If I wanted to look at something good, I won't come to see you." Once even said, "You will cry the first few times," referring to interactions with Hillis in the workplace. In the following year, it was reported by multiple outlets that Ubisoft, and by extension Nadio, had made minimal internal changes addressing the allegations, mostly half days of mandatory training. As of 2023, there have been no further developments outside of some small drama back in April where a mysterious user attempted to remove the controversy from Nadio's Wikipedia page.
Huh? Nah.
09 STM is lost. When TrackMania Turbo came out, the infamous player Relu uploaded every single STM run to YouTube. Shortly after, he shared all the replays with the community except one. In fact, he lost the replay of the STM on map 09, so we only have access to the video but not the replay file and all the information it contains, such as CP splits and inputs.
Monzi. Monzi is probably the most mysterious TrackMania player of all time. He started playing RPG in 2012 and quickly became one of the best RPG players ever, but suddenly retired and became a full-time spectator. He spent hours in spectator mode on a server called Skill RPG, and he wasn't even AFK. He was actually spectating the people and was active in chat. He has 12,500 hours on that server. That's 520 days on one TrackMania server. The only time he would drive is when a new map got added to the server. While he was spectating, he would always help the players and give them tips on how to improve on the map. Even after all the years that Monzi has been active, nobody knows anything personal about him. If you asked him anything even remotely personal, he would always respond with NA. You asked him about his age, NA. You asked him how his day was, NA. You were basically unable to get an answer if it was something about him. He also used to only talk in /PM or with a slash in front of the message, so that his messages would not appear in public chat logs. There was also an account supposedly stalking Monzi called Elisabeth Neumeier. Monzi would talk normally in chat, but whenever that account joined the server, he started writing in /PM or just left the server completely. Elisabeth Neumeier never talked in chat. The account would only join servers where Monzi was playing. Monzi also had this passive-aggressive behavior, where he would seem rude when talking about literally anything. There was also drama between Monzi and the Skill RPG owner, Dave. Dave claimed that Monzi tried to DDoS the server and ended up blacklisting Monzi. While all of this is weird already, now comes the weirdest thing. In early 2020, a TrackMania player called Christina started regularly playing on RPG servers, and that's when Monzi and Christina met. They started talking a lot. At first it was normal, but things got weirder and weirder as time went on. They started being AFK on the server 24/7, with their cars facing each other at random spots around the map. At some point, Monzi and Christina even ended up creating a half language. Basically English, but they had their own made up words that nobody apart from them understood. And that's how they communicated. They were active every day until suddenly, on the 21st December 2020, they connected to the game for the last time, and then vanished forever. They both left the server at the exact same second, roughly 5 minutes to midnight. Nobody has had contact with them since. Christina went on to cut contact with every TrackMania player. There's a lot of theories about Monzi. He could be the second account of a former best Russian RPG player called Realize2. Realize2 was very active but suddenly disappeared on the 4th March 2012. Monzi set his first RPG record 8 days later. Or perhaps he didn't leave at all and is hiding in the shadows, even watching this video right now. Type 1 in chat if you're here, Monzi.
Monzi, type 1.
TrackMania 2006 World Cup final footage is lost. The first TrackMania World Cup happened at ESWC in 2006 in Paris. Even if we have screenshots of the events with the results, the actual footage of the final seems to be lost since it can't be found on the internet.
Yeah,
there
the footage
are, however,
was found.
A couple of leads towards footage of the final. First, someone in Eric Oldal's comment sections claimed that they have the recorded footage on their hard drive, but never answered Eric's PM. And secondly, While he's researching for the iceberg, we found a video on Dailymotion that is a camera recording of the giant screen that shows the final round of the final. But the video bugged out and is inaccessible to this day. We asked the Dailymotion staff and they say that they couldn't do anything about it. So maybe we lost the last piece of footage of the final, 17 years after this happened. If you happen to know where we can find any footage of this final, please contact me on Discord or in the comment section. It will be sad if this piece of history was lost forever.
Dailymotion was such a awesome website. Viewing matches on that website was so laggy. Oh my god, man. The live streams were like horrendous. And it was the only way to watch like grand finals of like ESL competitions or like other like big LAN events. It was always on Dailymotion. Always on Dailymotion. Oh, la la.
TrackMania 2 Communities Auto-Moderation. When the cheating report was published, players from all games obviously wanted the cheated records to be removed. While this did happen for TMUF after a few weeks, it took dozens of requests and about 6 months for Nadio to only partially do the same in TrackMania 2. This in combination with new cheat for Nadio to only...
How do these... like... They are speaking about Christina and Monzi talking in half language. These two are talking in hieroglyphs. HDN, GS, HTJ today, guys. AAAWY, click. Like, they're talking in...
partially do the same in TrackMania 2. This, in combination with new cheaters showing up, caused the community to become increasingly exhausted and frustrated with Nadio not taking any actions. Unhappy with Nadio's lack of handling of cheated records, the community set out to find a way to moderate the leaderboards themselves. As it turns out, TrackMania 2 does actually have an anti-cheat. It's just very bad. Although unable to detect records driven in slow motion or with modified lap count, what it does flag as cheated records are physics change, teleporting, and not
Speed Racer type 1.
To forget pausing. By using one of these anti-cheat triggers on a PB run, a previously cheated record can be overwritten. On a next daily anti-cheat scan, this results in both the original and new cheated runs being removed. After this was discovered, a discussion took place in one of the biggest TrackMania 2 hunting solo Discord, where most, if not all, the top 10 solo hunters reside. The question was asked whether people would want such a solution to be implemented or used. The majority of the players agreed on the method being used. To avoid explaining how to cheat to cheaters, Mib12 was the sole person with access to a tool that could easily invalidate times. This requires cheaters to admit to their mistakes and hand over their login information to Mib so he could remove the cheated records. Removing the cheated runs thus happened with full consent of the cheaters. As controversial as this solution may seem, this made everyone happy because the community could play on way cleaner leaderboards. Self-reported cheaters got their...
Yeah, but Mib is a really good player. Riolo was also a really good player. It's kinda sussy. Why don't they just do it themselves? What?
A past mistake erased, and no one was losing points to cheated runs. After a personal change, Nadio was more open to the community's request of managing the leaderboards in TrackMania 2. The community-made method is now no longer used to manage the leaderboards.
Oh.
This is the end of the shallow depth, but before we discuss the last layer of the iceberg, let's mark a brief pause by talking about some additional information. During the research for this whole iceberg, we found and also received from the community some additional facts to add. We decided to create a honorable mentions category that regroups pretty much all this extra information. These facts aren't in any order, nor they aren't especially hidden information, so sit back and enjoy this bonus shot of TrackMania lore.
It's kind of scary how much information these group of people have on people that they don't even know. Like, they did all their research and everything. Like, they probably know like so many things about people where some people just don't wanna, you know, they don't wanna have people knowing that or something, you know? It's like kind of scary to think about. They know about me, yeah. Oh.
In TrackMania 2, you can see your offline session time by retiring. When you retire, you see for 2 frames your session time, and by mashing your retire button, you can barely see it.
What is this car skin?
Again, in TrackMania 2, if you retire the exact moment you cross the finish line, the game will make you exit the map and return to the menu instead of showing you the time or just make you retire. The official club for Nadio's employees in TrackMania 2020 is named Nando. By looking at the game's code, the player Ansgar found a scrap of code suggesting that XP was planned for TM 2020. This code for now isn't used in the game.
What is XP?
During the alpha phase,
like we're leveling up our character? We're farming XP? What are we doing?
Streamers were able to show the game before the release, and we can see on the track of the day picture a tiny logo of the football club on the background. During the first TrackMania Grand League competition in 2019, the servers were called TMCL for TrackMania Champions League. This name was the original name of TrackMania Grand League that maybe got changed for legal reasons? Who knows?
Yeah, it was actually legal reasons, like copyrights. It was confirmed. They had to change it.
TrackMania 2, all maps have a flag next to the names to know what the country of the map builder is. Nadio maps show a world map here, except in some rare cases, where the flag shown is the French flag, because, well, Nadio is French. In TrackMania Turbo, the maps are represented by a thumbnail. The map files themselves contain a square thumbnail, but only a portion of this is shown in the game itself. Just like every other game in the world, there are some unused assets, and TrackMania is not an exception. We have discussed before about a female. There are some of this.
Why do they have to show this map, by the way? Is this like a stab to me? Out of 200 tracks, they pick map 16. This must be a direct bash against me.
This is shown in the game itself. Just like every other game in the world, there are some unused assets, and TrackMania is not an exception. We have discussed before about a female driver that wasn't used back when the game got released, but is now part of the game. With Open Planet, you can extract games files showing even more unused assets, some of which were clearly temporarily placeholders. For example, these logos in TrackMania Turbo.
Oh, they were cool!
As mentioned in a previous entry, the snow car has an interesting behavior while under the no-grip effect. This allows for a whole new way of driving this car with many different tricks that can visually look like TM 2020 Ice, but are done very differently. Sadly, this style is only available if you own all 4 TM2 games or if you have Valley and played the TM1 Alpine title pack.
Most TrackMania players are well accustomed to the exchange sites for the various TrackMania games that allow users to upload and share content. In spite of this, most people, including some MX staff, are unaware that, for a short period of time, an exchange site existed for TrackMania Turbo. Due to the underwhelming multiplayer features of TrackMania Turbo,
Toffe! No way! Toffe, actually a person who helped me out during the Spam weekly races. He was the guy who hosted my servers. He wrote the scripts. He did like everything for me. Yeah. Is he still active? Okay, so then I can say that. So basically, I stopped hosting the weekly races, and I canceled my subscription at his server hosting whatever. And he kept on every single month. He kept on invoicing me for like 8 months straight, while I already stopped. I already stopped everything. For 8 months straight, I kept getting invoices and payments that I had to pay.
Implementing an exchange site proved difficult, and the site was shut down within 6 months of release. Sheer lack of interest in the offshoot title definitely didn't help. Currently, Turbo records keeping is relegated to those willing to maintain mostly manual leaderboards such as the TMT spreadsheet and Marcel's webpage. Maybe the TrackMania player that overuses the horns to the point that some of the runs he drives are barely watchable. He has even used a script that spams the horn during the entire run. The best example of this is his EO5 value world record.
Yeah, you see, this is why Meeb is kind of edgy, no? I think people need to investigate. People need to investigate Meeb, honestly.
In TrackMania Nation, however, there is a file that contains all translated words used in the game. If your game is another language, let's say French, then the game checks every word present in the file and translates it. And this includes even nicknames. As a result, if your game is in French and someone's named themselves the exact way a word is written in the file, for example editors, then their name will be shown as éditeur, the French translation of editors. The rise of TASes in the recent years showed really crazy tricks that can only be possible with the help of the TAS tool. Tricks such as the nose boost, but also the turtle Uber bug, the freewheel skip using one wheel of the ram of the freewheel block, all the start tricks in Stadium, Island and Snow, the list goes on. In TrackMania 2, if you do a PB on a solo map, there is a screen that shows you a skill point gain. However, if you lose points by being beaten from the moment you launch the track and you get a new PB and win fewer points that you lost, then you trigger a rare situation that shows your SP gain and it shows the animation as you lose points. Very rarely, Nadiu use custom blocks on their solo maps. For example, the freewheel block in TrackMania 2 Stadium D04 don't contain the signs on the side, or D12 using a variant not present in a set of blocks. While editing part 2 of the Iceberg, we wanted to use footage of a bug that made some blocks drive through, especially in the map AO4 in Canyon. However, we couldn't find any replays or video of the bug, so we tried to replicate the bug by playing against a run that was driven in old physics. But when finishing the run, Mifsua's run actually counted and was sent to the leaderboards, crushing his own world record. This faulty world record got deleted since. But that was pretty funny. Maybe not for me though. If you check TrackMania United's Forever's leaderboards, you can find some strange accounts. For example, if you check the Nigerian leaderboards, you will find a dozen accounts called over 9,000. But all the top 10 of these accounts are the exact same, seemingly belonging to the same player. There are also many accounts called Only Jesus Christ Saves You, translated in many languages across many countries. We are diving really deep into the game's lore and finally, we have touched the bottom. Only unknown, creepy or strange oddities remains this deep.
Taiwan is under China in the region select menu. Despite functioning as an independent state, Taiwan, also known as the Republic of China, is under the China region in the region select menus of TrackMania. This might be since the country that Nadeo is from, France, does not recognize Taiwan's independence from China. Similarly, Hong Kong is also considered part of China in some menus. Additionally, in older games it is impossible to select certain countries like Sudan, Barbados and Moldova, despite them being fully recognized countries at the game's release.
Gambia leaderboards. While researching the duplicate times on TrackMania Turbo Map 88, the leaderboards in Gambia turned out to be even more interesting. There were not just a handful of duplicate times there, but hundreds, filling up the entire top 1000 that can be retrieved. Even more interestingly, this turned out to be the case not just on 88, but on every map until 164, after which the leaderboards are suddenly completely empty. Looking at the actual players on the Gambia leaderboard, there are about 2,000 players with a seemingly randomly generated username, all with the same overall rank of 10,568. While Turbo's unfortunate leaderboard system does not allow for directly linking public records with accounts, the logical conclusion is that all these accounts have the exact same times on all of those maps. After some further digging, more duplicate times and accounts in other countries were found as well, although this time with more normal looking usernames. In total, they add up to an estimate of almost 3,000 accounts, all with the same times and overall rank. The question then is, why? In the original case of map 88, the duplicate times can still be attributed to chance, even though a very small one. But for thousands of accounts, there clearly must be something else at play.
Yeah.
Some theories are a very odd.
I think extraterrestrial, extra, the aliens.
Database bug, bots, hacked accounts, or even some sort of achievement service where people can pay for accounts with a number of medals unlocked already. None of these theories provide a fully satisfying answer though.
Je te hais on TMNF code. In TrackMania Nations Forever code, there is a class named CVC6 Je te hais. Je te hais is French for I hate you. It is unknown why this class is named like this. The CVC6 prefix is not used in any other classes or function in the game code either. Seems like dev got a bit mad during the development.
Drifting Stadium wasn't intended.
This is referencing the fact that when Stadium first released with TrackMania Nations ESWC in 2006, the drifting mechanic that is nowadays so commonly used wasn't even supposed to be a thing.
True.
This is supported by the fact that the author metal ghosts do not drift. A proof to support this is a bench replay from TMN ESWC using beta stadium physics with insane grip, physics extremely similar to the bay environment from Sunrise, meaning that you never needed to drift to take any corner.
XMPP chats. XMPP, standing for Extensible Messaging and Presence Protocol, is a chatting protocol that allows people to talk with each other. It works by having clients connected to servers, which are connected among themselves. This allows people from a server to send messages to other people from any server if it's properly configured. It can also be used to make private chats, by simply not connecting your server to the others. That's what is used in Mania Planet to chat using the Friends menu. However, a little known feature allows you to get your credentials to use them in another XMPP software, such as phone applications like AstroChat. You can then send messages to your friend without even being in-game, and you will appear in-game with a special status "Wants to chat."
All countdowns are different. In TrackMania 2 and the following games, the 3-to-1 countdown at the start of each race is not the same every time. The time between restarting and go will vary by approximately a tenth of a second. It's assumed that this feature is meant to combat players using simple macros to TAS a run. For example, one could create a script that starts when the restart key is pressed, then wait 3 seconds, and then macro the entire run. Because the 3 seconds is inconsistent, however, such a script wouldn't work. This was seemingly not the case in the earlier games, and the countdowns are consistent to the frame.
Okay.
Trees are always watching. This entry refers to the many types of foliage found around TrackMania maps. Some of these are not 3D modeled, rather they are flat 2-dimensional sprites, which always point towards the player, saving memory and processing power. This is easier to spot in certain environments, such as the shrubbery in Valley and Canyon. 2D textures, which will always face the player, can be found in many other games, for the same reasons. It does result in the interesting effect that when looking directly down and moving the camera up and down on the sprites, they will instantly spin 180 to face the player.
Loading times aren't real.
Loading times on TrackMania 2 are not real. You heard that right. If you try and make use of cheat engine and speed up the game during a loading screen, the amount of time the loading takes will actually end up being faster, as well as making the game slower. This means that the loading times in TM2 are partially skippable. The loading times are artificially extended so that everyone regardless of their computer has the same loading time. However, if you accelerate your game, the artificial time added by the game will be shortened, and the minimum loading time will be the time it takes your computer to load the game normally.
Yeah, but I think I lost my speedrun to loading times back in the days. What?
TrackMania isn't deterministic. Before you freak out, yes, TrackMania is by definition deterministic, but it's not actually perfectly deterministic. On the same map, the same inputs will result in the same run, but you need the exact same map. On some occasions, when you add a random block somewhere else on the map, a place where your car never interacts with it, the same inputs do not result in the same replay. Moreover, when you copy a map and rotate it to face a different direction, the inputs will also stray away from a perfect copy of the last run despite having the exact same inputs. Even actions as arbitrary as moving your mouse on the screen or pressing inputs that aren't even binded can break runs on press forward maps entirely. So, while TrackMania is functionally deterministic, it isn't as perfect as you may think.
Post-apocalyptic scenario on Mania Planet and Turbo theory.
What?
This is a theory first published online by Accursed Farm and Ross Game Dungeon in their review of TrackMania 2 Canyon. Ross's theory says that there was a group of billionaires who were having a giant midlife crisis. The billionaires built an insane racetrack so they could watch their remote cars do crazy stunts, flips, etc. However, after the mega racetracks were built, an apocalypse swept across the world, leaving their automated robocars racing on these tracks. And this is the end of the iceberg.
Hey, give me that mic. Give me, guys, listen, I'm here to tell you the real lore of TrackMania. Okay, so these games are obviously set in a post-apocalyptic future, with TrackMania Original and the environments in United Forever being the closest to reality compared to the ones that are gonna come.
I normally skip this part.
Come later. TrackMania itself experienced a global explosion in popularity, especially in the realm of extreme motorsport. As time progresses, things become more and more extreme. This leads to turbo down the line. Now, if you listen closely, you can still faintly hear cheers in the background whenever you start a race.
Yeah.
We can assume that these cheers are real and that they're coming from crowds in the same place, that being the wastelands of the world. But if the world is lost, how are we racing? Well, just look at the stadium, the most technologically advanced thing we've ever created. As it was told to us by the game, the engineers found a legal loophole within the laws of gravity that exempted it from such a thing. And who made the stadium? Who made it? Well, based off the signs and the architecture, we can confidently say that the stadium is, or rather was, in Japan. Word of this advancement spreads. More people learn how to ignore gravity, all in the name of TrackMania, all in the name of speed. It's almost like a cult of sorts.
Speed?
First, from Japan, it goes west, spreads to China with Lagoon. Then it travels north a bit, and then into the depths of Russia with Valley, before crossing over the entire European continent, over the Atlantic, and ending up in the Grand Canyon in Arizona in the United States. Unfortunately, this new technology was a little too successful and caused the atmosphere to drift off into space near these places. And with the vacuum of space being such a threat, the rest of it followed. And soon after, well, the very water was lifted into the cosmos. This is the apocalypse. Which leads us to TrackMania 2, where the only car left with a driver is the stadium car. Presumably, Japan kept working on their pride and joy of the stadium, and to escape their Icarus of speed, sent the thing into outer space. That's why there's no skyline anymore. There's no hills, there's no valleys, there's no villages, there's no beaches. Oh, but how can the drivers survive, you ask? Well, the stadium drivers are actually just wearing a highly advanced spacesuit that looks like a racing suit. And the other environments, those are AI controlled. The scale of TrackMania became too much to reasonably expect people to drive these tracks. So AI, artificial intelligence, was developed and set to roam free in these areas, constantly improving little bits at a time. The vegetation, it's all fake. It's strong enough to stop these cars in an instant. Despite them going hundreds of kilometers an hour, it's gotta be made of something extremely strong. Vibranium or something, I guess. I don't know exactly. And the water in each game is some oily substance made by...
Nade oil. We already got that in Iceberg 2.
Oh, an AI that's gone rogue. It doesn't behave like water. It looks like it, but the properties entirely different. I mean, even the currency. The main currency is called planets. Planets. In such a post-apocalyptic world, it's obvious why that would be the case. And you know that I'm right, because even Hylas tried to buy my...
Thank you for the...
silence, and it didn't work. I know the real lore, and now you do too. TrackMania was never just a racing game. It's the apocalypse where there's no earth and no atmosphere, with thousands of cars racing on ancient, disheveled tracks. I've got more details in the description if you're intrigued, and I'm still not done. There's still more out there, and I will uncover it.
Nice.
Well, as he just said, there is in fact more to uncover because, well, I lied when I said it was the last layer. Let me introduce you to the truly last layer, and for real this time. Welcome to the Void.
Joran, type 1.
Before going any further, let's do a small disclaimer. Everything shown here has been validated by trustworthy sources on a matter who will rename anonymous. TrackMania Sunrise NVIDIA trailer. This trailer was shown at a convention in March 2005 to promote the game and NVIDIA's graphic cards. The original footage wasn't published and seemed lost in the void for 18 years.
Oh, we got an ad? Oh. You see, so what worries me is that people like Ender, they know all these type of things. And they are active in the community as well. It's really scary. It's really scary that people like Ender know these things. We have Spammiej. It's very scary. You haven't spilled the beans? No, yeah, I know. But you have a past. Enderman. Exactly. Alright, I think the ads are almost done.
Till now.
That was hot.
Shootmania Gothic. Shootmania Gothic was one of the first Shootmania games Nadio worked on back in 2008. The game was just a concept that in the end was reused to create the first released Shootmania game called Storm in 2013. Shootmania Gothic looked like Storm's castle scenery, but with a more Gothic architectural style. TrackMania Nation Forever beta versions.
Do I know?
These early versions
of
TrackMania
I know.
Nation Forever give yet another insight into the development of the TrackMania games. The beta maps have been released a few months ago already by Darklink, but there are several other small differences such as thumbnails, map names, and other graphics. The beta versions and 3 release candidates bridging the gap to the game we know are available for download if you are curious in the description.
Cool.
Stadium Core Alpha models.
Is
These
Gothic the same as Monolith? No, they're different, same as. We are all thinking of Monolith.
Note the
and
lack
not,
of spoilers,
not of
a more
Gothic.
spherical body and wonky wheels, as well as previous iteration of some car skin. A manual recreation of this model with the beta physics was made by Grafemaster, although the download and accompanying video and tweet have been deleted since for unknown reason.
Yeah, Virtual
Stadium.
Virtual was also thinking of the thing that I also know and many of us know.
The same screenshots also show an open stadium and some work-in-progress blocks, such as an arc-shaped checkpoint, blue loopings, and massive Renstein. Also,
you don't know?
what the hell
Yeah.
is that thing in the background of one of the pictures?
I mean, I gave a hint earlier in the stream.
Block clip editor. While the in-game mesh modeler allows you to create any blocks you want, it is not possible to edit the clips connecting blocks to each other. This 2016 version of the mesh modeler shows that this feature could actually have been included, but never was.
Oh, damn.
TrackMania Nation Forever experimental Formula 1 blocks.
What?
These blocks were part of a potential update to TrackMania
Yo, these are
Nation
sick!
Forever after 2008. While these more realistic GP blocks never made into a stadium game, similar looking blocks appeared later in TrackMania 2 Canyon.
Ah. Okay.
TrackMania and Hot Wheels crossover. Back in 2016, Hot Wheels asked several game studios to develop a racing game which featured their toy cars. These very high resolution map thumbnails suggest that Nadio tried their hand at this request, integrating a Hot Wheels-like track into the valley environment. In the end, Hot Wheels collaborated with Forza Horizon 3.
Damn.
And Nadio never commented on the matter.
Imagine if there was a collab though. Holy. Could have been pretty damn sick.
This time, it's actually finished. You have made it to the ocean floor with the crushing weight of all this information on your shoulders. And now, when part 4 you might say? Well, I will release a full-length iceberg video that will contain all the corrected parts of this trilogy in one big video sometime after this video, but I don't know when yet. That being said, thank you for watching this whole iceberg. As always, if you have any question, feel free to ask them in the comments. We'll be here to answer you. Feel free to subscribe to not miss the next project planned for this channel. Thanks again for all the support through the last year with this project. We are truly blessed by everyone who watched, shared, talked about, reacted to, etc. This project couldn't be done without you. We also really appreciate all the people who gave their voice and time into the project, and more importantly, all the Iceberg crew. See you in the next one and have a great day. All the Iceberg crew. See you in the next one and have a great day.
Nice. Okay, let's see who has currently all the information. Shmanio. Okay, I need to make sure that I stay good friends with Shmanio. Okay, Ender, Mime. MDF. Okay, MDF. Yeah. Forever guy, of course he's in there. Iggy. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Woo! There it is. There it is.
Finish.
Yeah. Iona. That was funny. Nice. That was good. Good series. Good series. Good series. Nice. Tell us about the monolithic, gothic, thick girl. What? No. No.
Now
Only...
that we're done with the void from the ocean floor, let's continue to the next part, the inverted ocean. Let's start with the first thing on this level, Tarpa's barbecue.
Only a true magician can uncover what the monolith is. And I am not a magician. Yeah. Only the greatest wizard on the planet can uncover that. Alright. So I'm Harry Potter for doing a single Google search. Yeah. Alright, guys.